We already saw Probe play a PvP against SOS that didn't go too hot for him, which that sucks because Probe is the only representative of the OCE region, and you always just love to see these guys do well. You know, the small guys, the guys you don't expect it from these regional champions. I think that's one of the things that does make this World Championship so much fun, is that you don't really expect Nice and Haas to do this well, and then you see them playing. It's like, holy crap, Haas almost was in the qualifier match already against Dream, who I would have rated way higher. Now, we see Hurricane actually opening up with a Pylon Scout, and this is typically done to try and block a potential Nexus First. Nexus First have been gaining some popularity in Korea, but in Korea almost exclusively. So all Europeans, a lot of the Americans, they all still Gate Scout because they don't believe in the power of the Nexus First. But the Koreans do, for whatever reason, whatever has changed for them, I don't know. We see a lot of the top Koreans Probe Scouting. Now, Hurricane actually, what is he doing? What? He actually, why is Pro building a setup? He could have just went Nexus into Core here. He was in a fantastic spot to just play Nexus into Core. Oh, Probe messed up. Probe really did mess up here. He didn't need to get the Zealot. He didn't need to do anything. It's so obvious that something was proxied with this Probe, by the way. Probe realizes that and is looking for that proxy. He sees a second Probe coming. What is Hurricane doing with these double probes? Oh, Hurricane is completely messing up his control, that's for sure. I have no clue what he's doing, but it's not good. He just... And his this is an awful build order. I don't understand what's happening here. He's following this up with an Adept, which I don't even mind. Probe is playing this extremely properly. We see him go in again, as long as he doesn't get supply block here, which we are at risk of course, because he's gonna lose that pylon now, and he should really build the next pylon. Probe, please, for the love of God, get another pylon. I know you... this is a painful supply block. Gets the pylon. At least we'll be able to get a way faster Nexus than his opponent by about 10-15 seconds, which is a big deal. This is the weirdest proxy pylon I've seen in my life. I don't even think he can finish this. Well, he can't finish it, but he's just gonna straight up lose it. Probe has a way better early game here than Hurricane, honestly. He gets the Adept, sure, he loses 2 workers, but he scouts what his opponent is doing. He finishes the Cybercore, and now he can move across the map with Zealot, Stalker, Stalker. As long as he gets a battery in the main base, he is going to be in a fantastic spot here. Actually, in a fantastic... Hurricane is never going to be able to throw down this Nexus. This is looking good for our Australian player. Oh man, this is actually... What? Is it double battery? Please tell me this is double battery. No, he's just going to go for one in the natural. I wouldn't have minded if he moved across the map, but I understand why he doesn't. It's going to be going into a Twilight. He has a battery on the low ground, which I like. He's going to warp in a Stalker here, and then with double Stalker in the main base should be capable of dealing with that Oracle rather effectively. Now, Hurricane has a lot of workers, but his natural is super freaking late. His Twilight is going to be delayed. He's working with a single Oracle. His Twilight is delayed by about 40-50 seconds. Probes. Loses a single one, loses a second one. Third probe going down. Not the greatest defense with how much vision he had, honestly. Loses 3 workers, a little bit painful, but at the end of the day, he's still going to be in a fine position. Has a faster second gate, he's only going to be fighting against a single Oracle, and he's going to have faster mining from his natural. So I'd actually slightly favor Probe here, just because he has that faster blink, and that allows for the possibility of some pressure. It also gives him good defense against this Oracle. He can't keep losing workers like this, though. Once again, out of position. Loses another worker, does get some damage on this Oracle this time. It's just swappy. He doesn't need to be getting this damage on himself. We see Probe slightly ahead in the mineral income for the past half a minute or so, since that Nexus was of course a little bit faster. Now he's going to be slightly behind, as we see he's just down in workers. Hurricane be doing a good job with that. Forge going down faster for Probe, as we see Probe playing an extremely safe, solid and standard game. And from Hurricane I'm expecting more fire, as we see a robotics facility. We're going up to 4 gateways, so I'm expecting a little bit of a push coming out of him. Did Probe scout? He didn't see anything yet. This is it's funny because so Probe is adding 2 gateways, which actually is the wrong call if your opponent is playing a Forge. But if your opponent is playing Robo Twilight, this is completely fine. And you're going to be fine matching your opponent's Nexus speed. So he sees with the Zealot, hey, there's no Nexus there yet. I know I have faster Blink most likely. I know I'm most likely going to have slightly faster Upgrade as well. So as long as my opponent doesn't have a Nexus down, why would I? And he adds these 2 extra gateways. See a big investment here into a Prism for Hurricane, but I am not sure if Hurricane can actually move across the map and start attacking. This is not an easy map to attack on. Good position for batteries here. You have the high ground over here. This hallucination is having trouble seeing everything though. This probe, after it builds the battery, needs to move over here to work as a spotter in some way. He needs to get some map vision. I like this army positioning, that is good. What are the stalker counts? We have 8 against 8. We have a battery going up. We have sentries here for Probe, and we have +1 on the way. Probe continues building more and more workers as well. Quite honestly, I'm much preferring Probe's position here, as long as he doesn't just straight up die. No Blink Micro coming out of Probe so far. Mediocre force fields as well. Doesn't catch any of the sentries, which is pretty poorly done. Yet good possibility for that. He's actually kind of getting out microed here, even though he's the one with the battery and the better reinforcements. So far though, this is not the end of the world. He still has a Guardian Shield available. Should probably think about using that before he loses a sentry. Loses a sentry, good micro back there. I don't understand how he's losing these fights. He has the batteries close by. Right now he's using a super battery. Sure, he still has 2 stalkers in the main base, so he probably was down a little more than I let on to be. Because he's of course trying to deal with that Oracle. Now we see a rotation coming out of Hurricane. I'm loving this Immortal, by the way. That's great. This Pylon is going to absolutely pay dividends here for Probe as well. This Observer is already paying dividends for Hurricane as Hurricane. Oh my god, this is so well done by Probe. Sends the 1 Zealot forward and immediately knows, he realizes, hey, what's going on here? Immortal will be capable of 3-shotting Stalkers here as his +1 has finished. And this is something that people don't pay attention to enough, but Probe almost continuously building workers is such a big deal, allows him to stay ahead in that worker count while under pressure. And this is one of the things where very often, if you're under pressure in PvP, you forget to keep building these workers. And that's actually what puts you behind. It's not even necessarily that you take too much damage, even though the trades haven't been good. I still like Probe's position here. Sure, he's going to be a bit down in infrastructure. Sure, his eco lead isn't massive. And his upgrades aren't that far ahead, but he has potential for a +2 push. He already has 1 Immortal, he can add a couple of extra Immortals, and really, I don't see many advantages here for Hurricane. The only advantage that I see for Hurricane is that he has a Prism on the map already that can potentially do some nasty counterattacks, and it's annoying that these 2 Stalkers need to stay on the main for this Oracle, but that is really all there is. I guess this Observer should be cleaned up at some point in the future. Hurricane moving into 5 gas here. Templar Archives as well. It's gonna be looking for a push, but the reason I sound surprised is because what is Hurricane hoping to achieve here? He's gonna be attacking into someone who will have a faster +2. Is Hurricane gonna wait for his own +2 to finish? Then this push is gonna hit so late. No, this is great. Probe is playing a very solid game here. I'm enjoying this, to be honest. Sure, some mistakes were made in the early game. The micro at this 3rd base location wasn't the hottest, but he's showing a very good understanding of PvP, of where his unit should be, what his unit should be doing. I'm conflicted about this push out here from Hurricane. I'm truly conflicted. Yes, it is a good army, but he's going to be pushing into someone who will be up and upgrade. I'm loving this Robo-Bait transition here coming out of Probe. He should be doing this with just the Stalkers. The rest of the army should not be here. Immortals, Zealots, and Sentries can be caught by pure Zealot. No, this is the wrong... Oh no, the Probe should have been checking there. Probe completely getting caught out of position. Now sees this with a Zealot. It's like, oh, wait a second. He... starts kind of rotating back up to the 3rd base. The Oracle, did it get spotted? Probe is playing a fantastic game. He really is playing a very good game, unit movement wise, his decisions I'm liking, and he's going to be going into a faster double robo transition. He will get more disruptors out quicker, while remaining his eco lead. He's still up 8 workers. He still has a faster upgrade. Sure, the upgrades are catching up here for Hurricane. But Hurricane's army is also on a bit of a timer. In general, Archons and Immortals get worse over time. While Stalkers and Disruptors, you know, they're truly the GameStop of units in PvP. They only go up until they reach the moon. And this is, I'm not sure what these Archons are. Not that great, that's for sure. I don't think Hurricane can move in here. I just don't see it. This isn't the greatest position either. You see some small natural chokes. Yeah, I mean, you just need a little bit of a lag spike there. A little bit of a lag spike. These are good enough hits, I think. I was gonna say they were good hits, but I think they were good enough for Probe to be able to hold here. If he gets a second and a third, or a third and a fourth disruptor, he might be able to actually hold. Man, Hurricane is just blasting him. I did not expect this. I absolutely did not expect this. We see one more disruptor hit coming in, and Probe just kind of dying. What went wrong here? I completely misread this situation, and so did Probe. Maybe the shots weren't good enough. His supply was fine. Was his position that bad? Oh, actually, that first one actually hit his own zealots more than the opponent. And that second one killed only 2 zealots. Okay, when I said these shots were good, what I meant to say was he killed... We had a net value of like of 2 zealots there. I was in my head he killed like 6 zealots, but 3 of those were his own. So with that first shot, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry for that. That was a completely off call by me. As I think if he actually gets decent shots there, where he gets like 4 zealots per shot, which is not that weird to do, or he zones them out a bit more, the shots, rather than shooting them immediately, he probably has a better chance of holding. But he probably was in the same mindset as me there, where he thought he had a pretty decent hold, the position isn't that great, but somehow Hurricane just managed to make it work, and there you can see it. Yes. Even something as big as GameStop can fail. That's definitely what happened here. Probe with the disruptors, with the stalkers, just not enough, just not getting enough damage in. And of course Hurricane was on a timer, like I said, but it's also still a powerful army that that should be respected. I'm wondering what the main issue is there for Probe. I think perhaps the not zoning of the shots and just not getting enough damage with them, right? If you get up to 3-4 disruptors, you're gonna be in a lot better spot. Maybe the stalkers need to be blocking that left side as well, that tiny choke between that pillar and those rocks, because there a good flank came in from there as well. I wonder if you like managed to get 2 force fields there, if that would change the battle very much, or even if you just blink like 7-8 stalkers there, so the kind of the concave that the army of Hurricane can form isn't quite as big. But that was a very interesting attack, because I honestly thought there was no way for Hurricane to truly break that. But Hurricane is like, no, you're an idiot. I'm in Katowice. You're sitting at home casting. I'm going to move in here. I'm going to kill him. He hit nicely after he got his own +2. I really didn't thought that was possible. So definitely kudos to him. While Probe was playing an absolutely fantastic game for the first 10-12 minutes, Hurricane is just a little bit too good in these engagements later on, it seems like. As game number 2 here on Death Aura will be played. Oh, accidentally gave him 2 points. Once again, between in the top left spawning as the red Protoss player Hurricane, and in the bottom right spawning as the blue Toss. It's going to be Probe, of course. It's going to be little Probe. Well, it's not so little actually, it's kind of tall, I think. It's very difficult for me to remember how tall people are, because most people tend to be smaller than me. And, you know, if you're... So I kind of know what people are bigger than me and how much bigger they are, but if they're smaller than me, they all kind of blend into the same size in my head after a while. Yeah, that's kind of what happened with Probe. I have no clue. Could be like 185, could be 160. Or somewhere in between. It's not like there's only 2 options. I'll ask him one of these days. Alright. Now, Death Aura, I mentioned it before in the SOS versus Probe series, is one of those maps where it can be good to cannon rush on. Neither player, however, is doing that. If Probe tries to fake his opponent out at this time, I'd be very surprised. Like, this is such a terrible fake if it's a fake. No, it's just going to be a scout. Honestly, if you can manage to fake someone out at 118 minutes in-game, I'd be very impressed. The regular timing for that first pylon to go down over here is between 54 and 57 seconds. So that would be a cannon rush that literally starts 20 seconds too late. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hurricane once again opening up with a proxy pylon. This time it's not going to get spotted instantly. He's also going to pretend to scout. Now, this is a show of disrespect from Hurricane to Probe. And no, actually, it's not even a show of disrespect. I don't even know what this is. I was gonna say if he fakes a pylon here, but he's not even faking a pylon. So usually you do this weird scout timing to pretend like you're not proxying, and then you're actually proxying. But there's no second pylon, so it can only be a proxy. I mean, the reason I was going to call this a disrespect, that if you build a second pylon here, and then you send out one probe for a third pylon proxy, and one probe to scout, the opponent can just count the amount of probes that are in the base, and he can see, hey, I have one probe over here, you have one probe over here as well, but you have one probe less mining minerals, or one probe less on gas. Where did that probe go? And that way you can kind of get the information, hey, there's something proxied on the map. And that's kind of a disrespectful move to someone, because it's basically saying, hey, I hope you can't count. Which, you know, it's a bit rude to say there by Hurricane. I wouldn't like that. But instead he just proxied a second pylon. In my opinion, it's really obvious that this is going to be a proxy. And so does Probe. Probe just opens up with Stargate, which is Stargate Phoenix, by the way, which is the safest option. Oh my god, are you joking? Hurricane not with the block. There's nothing at home, needs to recall immediately. Does he recall the Oracle? No, he doesn't. Recalls the 2 adepts. This is not good, Hurricane. This Phoenix is gonna find the Oracle. Man, Probe is playing so tight. That was quick responses. Recall just got used. This is a dead Oracle. The adepts march out as well. Oh my god, once again, there's nothing here. Are you joking, Hurricane? Are you joking? 26 workers against 23. We're going to see 2 more workers go down. No, a 3rd worker is going to go down as well. No, just out of range. So close. Did he mess it up? He messed up the Phoenix control. He didn't clear the Oracle. That's kind of bad. That's kind of bad, guys. If he gets the Oracle there, that is no more potential threat. And that means that these Phoenixes can do whatever the heck they want. You can continue Phoenix production, go into a Robo. Instead, we're seeing Twilight as a follow-up. Unless this is for charge, I don't really like that. I think it's going to be Blink, though. Oh, Probe! Oh, man. No, Probe saw it on the minimap. He saw it on the minimap. He's going. Hurricane doing a good job with these adepts, by the way. Clearing that right side probe. Is now going to sneak into the main, or at least try to sneak into the main. That Oracle gets cleared, which is a big deal. Okay, now we see if Probe is paying attention. What are you doing, Probe? What are you doing, Probe? Probe is paying attention at least a little bit. Single worker goes down. Quick pull coming out of him. This is a fair trade, honestly. I wouldn't be too upset if I was Probe here. You have a full worker pool. You lose a single worker. I think overall Probe is still in a little bit of a lead. He has more workers. He is slightly up on income. And he has the potential to do some damage with these Phoenixes. He knows there's nothing on the map right now here for Hurricane as well. Hurricane once again going into these 4 gates pre-forge. And Probe doing the same thing. Getting a forge at the same time. Maybe he actually just forgot the forge. This is going to be a push. This is going to be a tiny push. Chrono boost on the blink. I'd be a little bit suspect of that move. Nexus going down now. I'm not a massive fan of this. I mentioned this before. The moment you're playing against someone who's skipping Forge and you're not skipping Forge, the Nexus, before your opponent has a Nexus, seems like a risk. But I think Probe might be in a good enough position here. I think Probe is actually in a very good position. And I keep being so surprised because I think Hurricane is insanely good. And I know Probe is good as well, of course, but I'd call him the clear underdog in this match. Now, he didn't play poor against SOS. He could actually get a sentry. Now he can't. There's stalkers here. He sees the move out completely. Sees the gateway as well. Loses a Phoenix, but I don't think he's going to give a crap about that. This is such a huge deal. More batteries going down immediately. What's the stalker count here? 7 against 9. There's 3 sentries here. There's a single Phoenix. All of the units are here at the front. Good force. He needs to lock this in. He needs to lock this in. He needs to force his opponent to blink back. He can't walk forward and blink back. This is a good lift by Probe, by the way. He gets a stalker there for free. Well, not for free. He loses a fair amount. Once again, well, actually, the units lost so far is looking good. This is good for... This is insanely good for Probe. He survives with a faster Nexus while up in upgrades, up in workers, equals in stalkers right now. Once this immortal pops, this is going to be so hard for Hurricane to do anything here. Infrastructure exactly equal as well. Good move there by Probe. Just slight poke forward. Now, this is a rotation he didn't quite expect. The micro here needs to be solid. The micro here needs to be good. And it is good. He gets a stalker for free. 4 batteries here in the back. Man, I was gonna complain about the insane amount of batteries, but I mean, they seem to be absolutely worth it. They seem to be doing the work, and it doesn't seem to be an overreaction whatsoever. +1 is about to finish up. First Immortal hits the field as well. Right now, Probe is in a massive lead. Way faster +1, faster infrastructure added as well, faster third base, more workers, and a better army. He literally has it all at this point. He's adding 4 gateways by the way. He's going to be going for a charge push. I don't see a 4th gas yet. I would love to see a 4th and 5th gas. I'd love to see a 4th and 5th gas and plan a big +2 timing like Hurricane planned in that last game. Except this time Probe is so far ahead and he's gonna be going for a +1 timing. No? What is he doing? Fast Prism already? We need gases. No 4th base. Not a 4th base Probe. I think he's underestimating his position here slightly. I don't necessarily mind the 4th base, but I want to see it after you take these gases, because we can have so many more Archons than our opponent here if we're Probe. It's just possible. Oh. By the way, just absolute compliments here to Hurricane, who somehow, while being down in Stalkers and down in Upgrade, manages to keep the illusion on that he actually is ahead. The Probe is running away from a lower Stalker count while up an Upgrade. This is because Probe can't believe that Hurricane would do something that dumb. This is a good play. Like, you want to make your opponent believe that you're strong when you're weak. And dang, Hurricane is weak right now. He was down in upgrades, but this is why I was hoping for a +2 timing with those added gases, is because you go for a secondary power spike. The initial power spike is almost nullified already. Right now, what do we really have as Probe? Sure, we have way more units, but we don't have more upgrades. We don't necessarily have more tech. Hurricane, however, gets caught slightly out of position. There's no force field breakers here. There's 2 immortals. There's nothing happening here. 4 workers went down somewhere. Where did that happen? Maybe just in the front as well. Yeah, this isn't the fight that Probe should be taking. This fight should be with 3 Archons, and it should be done in 20 seconds from now. Now finally he's getting those gases, but the lead he had before is practically gone. He still has an upgrade lead. But there's Archons on the side of Hurricane. There's Immortals on the side of Hurricane. And there's just a crap ton of Stalkers on the side of Probe. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be good enough. What is this? Just sends them home? What? What did he smoke? I think he wanted to use them as a harass tool and then was like, oh wait, there's a cannon there, I can't. This is the weirdest flank I've seen in my life. I would not want to be one of them zealots. Ay. Probe still looking for rotations, but Hurricane actually up in supply at this point. Probe floating ridiculous amounts of money. He's lacking something here. He's gonna get a big warp in the main base. Recall gets forced out as well, but I honestly think Hurricane is fine right now. Sure, he's still down an upgrade, but he's already transitioning into a Robo Bay. Probe already has a Robo Bay done. He's going double disruptors. Probe's honestly been playing very good early games and even early parts of the mid game, but just slightly lacking that understanding of what needs to be done with that lead. Where can he push his advantage? Sure, he managed to stay alive for some time, and he still has an upgrade lead. His army supply disadvantage isn't even that bad, because a lot of that is also in high quality units that he's going to be getting soon. He has a very good defensive setup with this many batteries. It's hard to seeing him die, right? It's hard to imagine Probe dying here. It's like 3 batteries per base. There's a cannon there as well. We have some disruptors being added. Dark Shrine, which I'm a fan of. So he's still in a fine position, but he could have leveraged that early game lead that he had earlier into either a denial on the fort or just a straight up win, honestly. And okay, so the least you want from there is to gain a massive eco lead when you kill like 8-9 workers for free, because there's no way Hurricane can defend in these positions. Don't forget, he didn't even have any batteries at any of his bases. He lost the battery pre-fight. Like, this was just kind of poorly done by Probe, and that sucks to say because he's been playing a very good series so far. And it was the same against SOS, where I felt like he was playing a good game, but he's just lacking that little bit in the end, and that's painful. That's just painful. Late game understanding of Probe seems to be in order though, as he's starting DT Blink, also known as Shadow Stride. Or starting Shadow Stride, also known as DT Blink. I did a little reverse there. See a couple of DTs moving towards the... Where are they going? Where are you going, Probe? Hey Probe, where are you going, Probe? Are you going to this undefended base? Is the plan to go into the base without the defense? Does perhaps Hurricane not have defense in any of his bases? And are these DTs doing a lot of damage? Yeah, that might actually be the case. 10 workers going down immediately here. Probe splits them up properly. This is good micro, this is good control. Cannon now going down. There's 3 DTs total here. And just like that, Probe, who kind of... Ooh! Okay, defensive DT warp in. Let's pretend he didn't just lose 6 disruptors for free. Still has a lot of stalkers here. This army of Hurricane needs to be careful because it can get kited back all the way to not to Korea. Or well, that gets to Australia. A couple more zealots being sent in here. There's still no cannon here. Cannon finished in the natural. Cannon done in the main. Worker count looking very, very good for Probe, but losing those disruptors means that there's a defensive ability here for Hurricane that Probe being a little bit sloppy there. I wouldn't wish. Oh, blink forward, blink forward. That could be a blink forward. There's only a single shot left. It's difficult to see with the high graphic settings, but this is the only one with a shot left. This one disruptor. You can blink in and snipe all disruptors in those cases, especially if you're rocking an eco lead. Don't forget also an upgrade lead here. So these every small skirmish. I love that Probe is doing this. He's just pulling these armies apart, and he wants to fight gateway units versus gateway units because he knows he has better upgrades. He knows he has better. Oh my god! I caught that, and I'm so happy I did. Probe absolutely destroying the final defensive line there on the left side of Hurricane, and somehow Probe in this. Well, it wasn't really a late game yet. It was the end phase of the mid game, really. These weren't even blink DTs yet, but Probe is just... He kind of destroyed Hurricane here. That kind of hurt a little bit as Hurricane. Because Hurricane was in a good spot after all. He had such a good army. He defended. And Probe right now is flexing a 100 supply lead. He has his 5th base up and running. Sure, there's no cannons here yet. But, I mean, there's also only a single cannon here, and there's absolutely nothing else for Hurricane. I think Hurricane is freaking dead, my dudes. This might actually just be it. GG. The Australian representative takes a game against Hurricane, and if I'm Hurricane in this spot, I think back about the last 2 games. First of all, I start second guessing my opening with these 4-gate blinks. It didn't really seem to pay off either game. And I start to get a little bit afraid of the late game. The mid game is definitely the place where Hurricane seems to shine. But early and late, it felt like Probe had a very good understanding of the things that needed to be done, and he managed to execute them well, if we gloss over the fact that he lost 6 disruptors for free. That was a game though. That was quite the game. I really, really like that. Hurricane is freaking fast. Oh no, I thought the average unspent resources was the APM, and I saw 621. Yeah, look at this. I saw 621, I was like, holy crap. This kid is amazing, but that was just that he had worse macro than Probe. Nice one. Alright, we're gonna be heading into game number 3 soon. I'm just waiting for my invite here as the referee D is hosting up the lobby, still in the custom game for now. But yeah, that was a sick game, honestly. I love that. I really did like that game a lot. It really had everything. It had funny early game, weird interactions and proxies, follows up with his 4-gate pressure with a proxied gateway. It feels like Hurricane is kind of cheesy, or not cheesy, but aggressive. He's extremely aggressive, and Probe, honestly, his early game seems to be fine. Seems to absolutely be fine. If I'm Hurricane, what I would like to do is I just go into a standard game here where we either play an even scenario out in the early game, something like Sentry, like Stalker, Sentry, a Stalker, Sentry opener, something like that. Or even just a Stalker, Stargate. You know, something where it's going to be hard for you to die or take any major damage. You just want to get an even game, and then you start working on those +2 pushes in the mid game. You know, it seems like his army control with these mid game armies, with the Zealot Archon, he understands the compositions more. It seems like he just has a better grasp of that phase of the game, and I honestly think it shows. It really does show. That's going to be his point, where he either needs to push hard and then leverage a win into a longer game from an advantage there, or he just needs to straight up win there, I think. Now, of course, it's completely possible that that Hurricane is very comfortable in the late game against Probe as well, and that what happened last game was just kind of a... We shouldn't forget that he was lacking some cannons, right? There was a lot of static on the side of Probe, and Hurricane was skipping a lot of cannons because he was afraid to die. And it sounds weird to skip cannons then, but cannons cost a lot of eco, so sure, they help in the short term, but in the longer term against bigger pushes, skipping cannons usually is a good call. Unless, of course, 3DT show up, which is what Probe showed. Probe says, sorry, go, good luck, have fun. And we are about to head into game number 3 here on Romanticide. Yes, I can show you guys the countdown screen already if you want. Here we go. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. As the countdown hits 0 and Romanticide is going to be the final map of this series, the loser will be out of the tournament. And I don't think Hurricane was imagining being in this position this soon. I really don't think he did imagine that at all. Especially when he saw the second match against Probe, which I think was considered to be the weakest player in the round of 36 and probably in the tournament as well. Probe has been he's really been showing good games today. Actually unironically, he's been playing very well. Makes me happy to see. It's really cool when these local guys just play well. It's been nice to see Haas do well. It's been nice to see Nice do well. Now we have Probe as well, showing actual very good decision making, and none of it has been cheesy. Let's not forget about that. These have all been standard games. He wants to take it into a longer game, and it's cool to see. Once again, plays this weird pylon placement. I'm not a big fan of this, but I'm not gonna spend too much energy on flaming him for that. He doesn't deserve that. Hurricane, the clear favorite in this series. Now 1 game away from being out of the tournament. I am Katowice Online 2021, the World Championship of StarCraft 2. You don't wanna go out in the first round of the winner bracket and then out in the first round of the losers bracket. That is absolutely not what you want. See the probe scouts from both players after gateway in order to block any potential 1-gate expense, of course. After gateway scout will be able to will allow you to throw down a pylon on your opponent's natural. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Ooh. Woohoo! Come on. This is a test. This is an idiot test. Is my opponent the clown or is he not? Guess what? Guess who isn't the clown? Not this Australian man. Sees the pylon on the far right of the base. Is like, okay, I see what you tried to do there, buddy. I see what you tried to do there. What? Okay, he opened with sentry. I had never seen that in my life. It's gonna be adept sentry instead. But the adept is going to be delayed. The sentry will show. Probe gets the pylon off. If he sees the sentry, that'd be massive. I don't think he saw. He might be able to see the adept though. Cancel. I think he saw the adept. This is a really good opener for probe. If these meet, that would be fantastic for probe. This looks like it's going to be... No. Whoa. He doesn't spot it either though. It doesn't get spotted. Now, Hurricane kind of failed last game. With that block. Okay, this time he's gonna have a preemptive block. Adepts get spotted by the sentry. This is such a weird opener. There's no way that probe will be ready for this. I never see that. I can't... Why do I speak? Oh, no force field. Okay. Did something get recalled? I thought I heard a recall noise, yeah. Okay, this time... Yeah, he can let it finish. Come on, join me in the main, buddy. What are you gonna do? One adept against 2 adepts, 2 sentries and a stalker. Like, he could go find this adept. I would go find this adept with my adepts if I was probe here. Worker count relatively equal. I don't understand this opener out of Hurricane. It seems very risky. Just a bit odd in general. I guess there is the surprise factor. Hey, there's an adept in my base after I see a sentry. That's weird. Yeah, this is not gonna be it. Loses the adept for free. Now, these 2 adepts might come in handy later on. We see, by the way, faster Twilight and similar timing Forge here for both players. So Hurricane giving up on his 4-gate blink, which honestly I haven't been liking too much, and decides to actually go for a more standard game. This is, I do like this. I think this is a good call. Like I said before, I think this is exactly what he is supposed to do. He is definitely supposed to be doing this. Just go into a standard mid game. You go for your +2 push there from 5 gas. Or you go into a big Zealot Stalker play from 4 gas. It's all possible. I think this is the... Okay. Now, I don't actually like this. I don't like that we're seeing 4-gate at this point. He saw the Forge. He saw the Twilight. Why aren't you just getting a faster Nexus? There's no way that you're going to die against someone playing Forge Twilight. Even if they go 4-gate. Is simply not possible. We're also seeing our Robo being built before the 3rd base, but for both players. So extreme safety, which is good if you're playing against no Forge openers, but I think it's worse economically when you're playing against Forge openers. 2-gate Nexus is simply superior in that case, because it's not even that you need more probe production, but it is, you're gonna get so oversaturated in your natural so fast. You see, we already have major oversaturation here. You should be taking a 3rd gas if you play 4-gate. That 3rd gas is a little bit late. But probably after those last 2 games is like, you know what, I'm not going to take any risk. And it's kind of understandable. We see a cut in workers from Hurricane for no reason. Maybe it was supply block. Difficult to imagine why he would be down 3 otherwise. Maybe more chrono boost on the workers here for probe. Also possible, of course. +1 about to finish up for Hurricane, who's slightly faster with that. Now, this is a tiny difference, but if you're planning on doing a +2 timing on a 4th base and you're hitting in a very tight way, then yeah, we definitely could be... that could turn into an issue for probe, is what I'll try to say, is what I'll say. Instantly starts his +2. Do we see chrono boosts on there? Yes, we do. Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of, is that when we have a very even early game and we go into a mid game, is that the knowledge of how this is supposed to be played is just slightly superior for Hurricane. You see Hurricane got 2 extra stalkers, instead is building an immortal, which is better. He's adding a crap ton of gateways. This is 10 gates, guys. This is 10 gates. We're looking at 10 freaking gates here. This is not a small push. This is going to be the big +2 timing that I was talking about. And I have so far the understanding out of Probe. Huh. Alright. 2 cannons, 2 batteries. Now, this shocks me. I don't understand this. And I'll explain you the reason for it. It's because the reason why Probe does this is because he saw a lot of gateways, right? He sees 10 gateways and he's afraid of a push. But the moment you build extra structures here, like this is 150, this is 200 batteries, that is worth 2 extra gateways. So you're sacrificing 2 extra gateways to try and hold an area that I don't think is breakable in any way anyway. And so the difference here in understanding is that Probe wants to stick on high stalker counts, which is nice if you manage to survive 2 disruptors. But if you don't survive 2 disruptors, well, then you die. If you die, you're out of IM Katowice. And all of that gas that is in stalkers here, over here, is in Archons. And you see the minerals invest in zealots. Absolutely no way that Hurricane should be going in here. Oh my god, the double adept from the early game is doing damage, forcing a complete recall. You've got to be joking me. Probe, you legendary player. I completely forgot about these 2 adepts. I remember thinking to myself, these might come in handy later. I might have even said it. If I hadn't said it, I definitely planned to say it. But, you know, lots of thoughts in this head. I can't say everything. Need to limit myself sometimes. And now that he got forced back, these stalkers can start moving on the map and actually can start delaying a potential move out. Fort base being taken on the left side. That's nice. This was a super overreaction out of Hurricane, by the way. The recall. He should have been over here still and then rotating towards the left side to deny this fort base. If this fort base gets up, the game isn't over. That's not the case, okay? But Hurricane is going to be in a worse position because he will still need to get the stalkers that Probe already got. He will still need to go into... Oh, he already has Disruptor. He's faster. But he'll need to get rid of these Archons, off of these Zealots, in an okay way. And we see a lot of investment in defense here for Probe. So Harass is going to be weak out of Hurricane. It can't be too strong. Mediocre micro coming out of Probe. The kiting not too hot. Should have been able to probably take out all of these Zealots without any major losses. How many Disruptors do we have? We have a single Disruptor. What is our cannon count? We have no cannons. We have 3-4 Disruptors. We have a good defensive angle though. That might not be enough though, as the Disruptor shows up. Takes a pot shot. Takes a decent shot. Force fields. The force fields this entire series, this entire day, have not been it here for Probe. That is the only point of major criticism, is that the force fields have been lacking. He should not be out on the map. He should not be out on the map right now. He should be remaining in a defensive position, trying to get vision here on the right side. Yes, the vision on the right side. What should Hurricane be doing? He should be careful, but he can move forward. He can send a part of his army towards that right side. Also the correct call here. He wants to be denying vision and then perhaps rotate back to this area. We're talking about high-level rotations here that are very, very important to scout. Every single time he does this, I'm so afraid because his vision is so poor. His vision is so poor. He doesn't know if there's a flank coming from here. Now, we have this move coming from the right side. DTs will be able to take care of that. This is... I don't think this should be going in. I think these pushes should be used to clear vision and then as a flank potentially, okay? This is a blink forward, that Disruptor. The micro that we're seeing here coming out of Hurricane has been good so far. He is on 5 bases. He is on 6 gas against the 8 gas Probe. Probe is on 8 gases. He's going to be able to afford way more DTs. Oh. Good Disruptor shot there. Romancide is a map where it's easy to stay alive at times. It's easy to stay alive because of the many ramps, because of the good defensive positions. This is the incorrect 5th bag. Loses a bunch of stalkers as we see Hurricane slowly creeping into a lead in this game. This is the proper 5th base to take. You want to kind of wall this off with more cannons. Maybe you have a tiny army here. Take out these minerals and then play aggressively around this area. You can't lose this area. This is the key area for the defender if you're expanding in a line like Probe did here. Needs to be careful though. That's a bad blink coming out of Hurricane. But good zoning disruptor shots. Only a single disruptor shot left here. 2 more show up. Some minor struggles here on the right side of the map. Hurricane is ahead in mineral income and slightly down. Okay. Gravitic boosters finishing up here for Hurricane. Also getting his own Stargate. I feel like the zoning work of Probe in this game so far hasn't been great with his disruptors. There's something that we need to see a little bit more of. He needs to try to push his opponent back. He needs to take control of this area. Maybe even get an observer up here for that extra vision. It doesn't seem to be the case for now. In general, he's lacking some observers. He has 1 observer now. No gravitic boosters yet. There's no speed on these observers. We have an army here defending. He's going to be able to get this 5th base up. The reason why I say this is the bad 5th base is because of this specific rotation. He can't allow this rotation because how is he going to be able to defend this? What's this Hurricane? Why are you sending your army here? No. This should be a complete kill on this base with his entire army. He's overconfident that he can clear this base with just this army. I don't think if that's... I'm not sure if that's the case. It could be possible, but it's a risk that... Oh! I wouldn't want to expose myself to. If I'm Hurricane here, does he still have disruptor shots? I'm not sure if he does. Maybe 1. Decent force fields. Yeah, he just didn't have enough. Now he's still in a fine position. He is the one in charge. We see Probe trying to split off part of his army. The only cannon that is here will finally fall. The vision game out of Hurricane has been fantastic so far. He's getting good spots with his observers. He's making superior rotations. And now Probe seems to just be a play ball in the hands of the Korean Protoss player. Yeah, good zoning shot. 1 more zoning shot, perhaps some force fields on this ramp, and this 5th base is Gonzo. This 4th base is Gonzo as well. We see this coming back home. The control out of Probe is not quite there. Jeez Lord. Massive disruptor shots as I am afraid that the Australian representative will need to tap out, and that is exactly what he does. Taps out and Hurricane takes the series 2-1, which keeps his hopes and dreams alive in this tournament, where he will most likely be facing Kelazur in the next round, who ended up losing to Bunny. All right. Nice little series there between these 2 legendary players. As we're probably going to be moving into our final series of the map soon. Let me just check to make sure that I am indeed correct. That was the lower bracket round of 8, number 1. And then we get the... I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening, but yeah, I think we have another... yeah, we have 1 more game here today, definitely. So I will just be going into a tiny break, and after that we will be back with another game and hopefully another co-caster if I manage to convince someone to become a co-caster. Wrong button.